and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, back on the channel today with another extra time video after a very disappointing result at home to West Ham. We had that fantastic winning start of the season at home in the league. We've now lost that to a fairly dismal performance in the end. Obviously, had a lot of key injuries, but I'm joined today by Alex, who's he's written for the website before. He's made his debut on the channel, though. We're going to kind of give our reaction to it in a bit more detail than we did a few days ago. But Alex, thanks for coming on the channel. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not doing too bad, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Now I've kind of had time to process how disappointing that really was at the weekend. But we'll start at the start. We'll start with the lineup. Look, we know we've had a few key injuries. We knew Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison were still going to be out. We still don't really know the extent of those injuries. But what were your thoughts when you see the lineup? Anthony Gordon dropped after that kind of brilliant Manchester United performance, really, in favour of Iwobi, who did not go on to have a good game. But what were your thoughts when you saw the likes of Iwobi and Rondon in the side?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, Rondon, we knew, like you said, we knew Cavalier and Richarlison couldn't play. That was kind of a given. But I think Gordon must have been feeling very aggrieved after such a great performance at Old Trafford to have been dropped for Iwobi, and then the performance that Iwobi puts in kind of justifies his feeling. I mean, I think he got that one wrong, and I thought beforehand he'd got it wrong. So yeah. It's frustrating because I think it could have been a good game for Gordon to maybe kick on. I thought he impressed when he came on. So
yeah, definitely. It was quite frustrating to see, really, because Gordon's had an up and down time, really, hasn't he? He's gone out on a few loans. He went on one loan to the Championship. That was kind of mixed. I don't think it ended too well there, and he ended up getting injured. I think he's obviously then come back to the club. Didn't go back out on loan, maybe which some people expected him to. And kind of after that, Benitez was clearly impressed with him, wanted to keep him around. Starts with him against Manchester United, does fantastically. Then he's dropped for an absolutely below par, to put it nicely, Alex Iwobi, to be honest. We kind of knew what Alex Iwobi performance we were going to get before it even started. So the decision for me as well was baffling. I think Benitez definitely got that one wrong. But then kind of going into the game, because, I mean, we could talk about the lineup all day long, but I think we all knew immediately, seeing the likes of Iwobi and Rondon, we weren't in for a particularly fantastic performance. But we can go to the first half now anyway. Started quite poorly, didn't we? Couldn't really get on the ball. It was, it didn't look like we were going to have a great afternoon as soon as the match started.
Yeah, I mean, you're not entirely sure what to expect, and so David Moyes, West Ham, sort of seemingly quite a defensive focused team. But I think they probably surprised us coming out how they did. The first 10, 15 minutes, we could barely get hold of the ball. And it was just relentless pressure. And I think we did quite well to withstand. I think if I had to take any positive from the game, I actually thought defensively we were quite solid. And I thought for a while it was looking to be heading to, a rough 0-0. But I thought at first, we were withstanding the pressure pretty well. But yeah, really struggled to find any sort of outlet. You're relying with Calvert-Lewin fit to just get him to maybe hold the ball up and get something going on a counter attack. But it was very reliant on Gray and Townsend, and they can't do it all. So yeah, it was frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we haven't played a particularly possession-based game all season, and it has worked up to this point. But even when we've kind of lacked the possession, we've been fine on the counter attack. Townsend and Demarai Gray, as you mentioned, they've been fantastic this season, and they've been essential to it. But we couldn't really get a grip in the midfield, and it seemed like we couldn't even string kind of maybe 3, 4, 5 passes together at the start of the match. So when you are playing a style which doesn't favour possession particularly heavily, we had to be more clinical on the counter attack, which, to be honest, we kind of did go into. I think as the first half went on, I think we kind of slowly got our way into the game, but not really a fantastic way to start. And the Alex Iwobi chance, was that first half or second half, just before we go into it? Because so okay, fantastic. We go into that then. Probably the biggest chance that we had all game, massively. Demarai Gray does well. I mean, just try and sum up what's gone wrong there. Obviously, Rondon's just in front of him. He's swung. He's missed. It's terrible, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was sat in the Gladys Street for the game, and I think at first I wasn't entirely sure just how good of a chance it was. I thought, it's one of them crosses. It just kind of gets through everyone. You just think that's just frustrating. You just hope someone to be in the right position, and then watching the replays back after the game and stuff, you just realise just how bad that is, and it's just it just blows my mind. It's so
Hmm.
infuriating. Just like, you think pretty much anyone else it thought like that ball falls to in the attacking positions, and you think you'd at least get a shot off there. And it just summed up his game for me, really, just really off the ball. And it was groans every like throughout the ground every time the ball went near Iwobi. And yeah, just immensely frustrating.
Yeah, perfectly justifiable groans as well. And before we move into the second half performance, really, Rondon, he didn't have an impact at all, did he? It's very frustrating to see because we know in a match like that, we need a big striker that's going to hold up the ball and pass it on. But which he is a big striker. We know he did that for Newcastle. He did it for West Brom. He's had that time in China. He's had the time off, but he's really not up to scratch in his performance wise. And a lot of people were saying, look, he didn't have a preseason. He hasn't played properly in months and months. He's had quite a few back-to-back 90 minutes now, so I don't know what you make of him at this point. There is the argument maybe he's still not fully fit, not up to the speed, but he's had quite a few matches now back-to-back, and he's clearly just miles off the pace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mentioned in the report after the game that those excuses have got to be running out now. We can't just keep saying that after every game, oh, he's not fit. Like, I mean, in fairness to him, I thought he was a tiny bit better in the second half. There was a few little bits that were a tiny bit better, but remember, like at one point in particular, I think it was just after we'd conceded, we got the counter attack and a few little nice passes, I think, between like Gray and Allen, perhaps. But it came to Rondon and he didn't even take the ball with him, like ran past it complete like a control, and the whole momentum just completely stops. Then West Ham can get defenders back. And yeah, it is just not good enough. Like, he needs to pull his finger up, because I mean, there's been reports this week Calvert-Lewin's injury might be worse than we first thought. And so if that is the case, he really needs to pick it up soon, because we are in trouble if he doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of going into the second half, we've seen it maybe on already a couple of occasions this season. We've come out the second half much brighter. Clearly, whatever Benitez says at half time does help. Doesn't always, well, very rarely makes tactical changes at half time. Doesn't do anything significant, but clearly what he's saying to them works. So, would you agree then that we did maybe start the second half as the better side, maybe the more likely to score?
Yeah, we did actually. I was surprised by that. We came out of the blocks quite well, I thought. And I thought for the first 5 or 10 minutes, it was kind of similar to the West Ham, really. Like not many clear-cut chances. I know there was the Rondon header, and I think Iwobi had a chance that was blocked, and maybe should have passed it or whatever. Um, but yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot more pressure. We seemed to have upped the intensity a bit, and you start to think, okay, maybe we can just nick one here and stuff like that. But didn't work out in the end. And I mean, I do feel a bit sorry for Benitez, as you said about like tactical changes. He didn't have a lot much on the bench that he could have changed, in fairness to him. So I think it's this lack of quality depth that's costing us again. I think, and that opens up all sorts of questions about our summer window and stuff. But yeah, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting discussion that we can have. Obviously, both managers waited a very, very long time to make any substitutions at all. Obviously, Gordon kind of featured later on, but I see what quite a few people have said on Twitter. Really, we needed more bodies in the midfield, and I completely agree with that, because Rice and Souček. Well, I mean, there aren't many times where we've seen Decore and Allen this season, if any times really. I think they've been one of the strongest central midfield partnerships in the league, but they were just being outclassed. They couldn't really get a grip of the ball. They weren't doing too well. And clearly, they needed someone else, where Rice was having maybe one of the better games of his career. He was absolutely fantastic all game, and it was quite frustrating to see. So we may be surprised. Obviously, he doesn't have many options on the bench, but the likes of Gabam and Davies, maybe they can come and kind of beef out that central midfield and give them a bit more support and more of a platform to build forwards.
Yeah, I'd say exactly that. I think one of our strengths this season has definitely been that centre mid pairing of Allen and Decore, and on Sunday it just wasn't there. Like you said, we're just getting completely overrun. And I think maybe like I see what you're saying. I get the idea, but like I think you've also got to think about, especially once we've gone behind, you've got to make some form of attacking change, or the crowd will just get on your back. And say like Davis for Iwobi, just an example. That's gonna it's gonna rile the fans and antagonise the fans and get them groaning. And I think like that might have been the tactical thing to do, maybe earlier. I think I'd say about that. But I think once we'd gone behind, you needed to make a change like Gordon. Get more pace up front and stuff like that. So I can understand why he made the changes he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that does naturally bring us to the goal disappointing from Pickford, or was it kind of? I mean, it wasn't a corner really. I think the ball did end up coming off Antonio in the end, but Pickford has to be doing better there, surely, to really kind of dominate his box and get above Antonio to take the ball.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I saw a very good point made after the match. I think on the Athletic about you think Yerry Mina, something we didn't mention before the game, of course. Having had to play international football as late as Thursday night, he wasn't available to start. And you think massive body like that in the box, he's been superb this season. Really, really impressed. Probably the best form I think since we signed him a few years ago. And you think you put him in that box in the corners, with West Ham's aerial dominance, and you think that someone like me would be able to combat that. I think it's harsh to blame Pickford. I don't know. I think it was.
Sorry. I should have explained that better. I mean, before the corner was obviously, when Godfrey had that poor clearance, ball goes up, Pickford doesn't manage to get above Antonio. That's what I wasn't blaming him for the corner. No, I was more talking about the lead up.
I mean, I wasn't entirely. Again, I'm saying down the far end, I couldn't really work out whether it was a corner or not, and that's a whole different argument. But it again, I think Antonio was actually contained pretty well throughout the game, and yet just one little moment like that, and that's what eventually wins the game for West Ham. And yeah, I'm a bit mixed. You can maybe blame Pickford, and you can maybe just blame other factors. It's just one of them things, So
yeah, absolutely. I think we definitely ended up missing Yerry Mina from a set piece perspective. Both, as you mentioned before, I agree that we were pretty good defensively for the majority of the game. I thought Michael Keane had a good game, which we haven't seen too many of this season. Ben Godfrey, I think, is getting back up to speed. I saw some tweets today. I can't remember where they were, sorry, but him talking about he's getting back up to speed as well, getting back up to fitness after his COVID at the start of the season. So, to be honest, defensively, I think we were pretty solid. It was just that kind of midfield problem. We couldn't build from it, and having Rondon up front really wasn't helping us at all. But two bright spots once again, Damari Gray and Andros Townsend, as they have been basically all season for us, our saving grace. What did you make of those two?
Yeah, I mentioned in my report, it was like one of the main things that stood out for me, that we just seem so reliant on them at the moment. Without quality in forward positions, with Richarlison and Cavalier now, it just seemed to be give the ball to Gray or Townsend and just hope they can produce some moment of magic, like whether it be a goal or an assist. And Gray throughout the game, lovely little runs down the wings, and some quality balls into the box, and Townsend the same, but. Like I say, I've said it before, they can't do it all themselves, but continuing to impress and proving to be really good signings once again, and hopefully that can continue, and hopefully Watford, they can prove to be the difference this time.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was Calvert-Lewin, I'd be absolutely fuming I was injured at the moment, mainly because the state of the delivery that we now have from Townsend and Gray is not like something we've had for quite a few years, I don't think. Obviously, we know Digne from set pieces hasn't been bad. He really maybe was our most creative player in terms of crossing the ball into the box, which Calvert-Lewin absolutely needs. And we finally get a fantastic cross of the ball, and Andros Townsend, and Calvert-Lewin gets this seemingly long-term injury. The rumours obviously haven't been confirmed yet about how long he will be out for, so we'll have to wait and see about that one. But I would be absolutely fuming if I was him at this point, because we finally brought in the players to give him that delivery. We've got a fantastic, pacey, direct player in Damari Gray to get down the wing, Townsend and his fantastic delivery. We don't really have anyone on the end of it, which I thought, to be honest, at the time when Rondon was signed, I thought he was perfect for the role that we were going to need him to play. To be honest, he's having to play more games than obviously he was probably expecting, but the state of the deliveries we get into the box, I don't remember. I think Townsend maybe had not Townsend. Sorry, Rondon maybe had two headers that were on target. They were both very weak, and it's very, very easy for the keeper to deal with. So, I mean, we can't really go on about Rondon all the time. Or I think I could be here for an hour complaining about what he's done so far. But he's the exact kind of striker that should be absolutely provident from those situations, from having a player like Andros Townsend, Damari Gray, Lucas Digne on the set pieces. We have some fantastic players to deliver the ball into the box, and Rondon's nowhere to be seen. And it's not just about being off the pace. He's not sharp in the box. I think there was a point where the ball was pulled back and he was nowhere to be seen. Probably actually happened on a couple of occasions, but it's just the one that is popping in my mind. But it's so disappointing to see, and I think when we rely so heavily on this style of play that is fast, direct, putting balls into the box and seeing what he can do. It's meant to be his bread and butter, surely, to get on the end of these crosses, and he just isn't at the moment. But I will leave my Rondon complaints there, because at the end of the day, we don't really have many other options apart from the young Lewis Dobbin. But he's had a few minutes at the end of games. Is he ready to play football in the Premier League? Probably not. Could he do any worse than Rondon at the moment? I'd also say probably not. But obviously that's up to the manager, and it's his decision at this point. But that's basically all I have to say about the game. Did you have any kind of final thoughts you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything, and I think it's important to note that it's one of those games that could have gone either way. I think, on another day we could have nicked it. On another day it would have ended 0-0. And I think it's just a classic case. David Moyes' team slugs out a result away from home, and then defensively solid throughout, and we just couldn't find a way through. I never really thought we were going to score. Even like once we started piling the pressure on towards the end, we never really carved out anything that clear cut. So it was just one of them games, and we've just got to move on now and just look ahead to the next one. I think no knee-jerk reactions needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think, yeah, on another day, we could have scored, or neither team could have scored, to be honest. There weren't that many clear-cut opportunities, and as you mentioned before, Antonio was dealt with quite well. Up the other end, Rondon, it was very easy for the likes of Ogbonna and Zuma to deal with him. So no, it was particularly a goal threat. They got the goal from the set piece. That was a very questionable set piece. It is one of them. We weren't fantastic. I don't think they were brilliant, but they've won the game, and that winning start at home is now gone. But that does bring us to the end of the video. Looking forwards, we will have another video coming up about Decore. Obviously, he's picked up a fairly long-term injury. Looks like he might be out until kind of towards Christmas time. So we're going to have a reaction coming up to that as well. But Alex, thank you very much for joining me. Where can the viewers find you now?
Joe, I've got a Twitter, which I'm sure will be linked below, and do regular match reports. I'm going to be starting to do more about the youth team as well. So we mentioned Lewis Dobbin briefly there, more on him and stuff. So yeah,
absolutely. So do go and check out all of that. Thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to check out all the social media down below. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts were. On the match as well, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.